So here's an example. This was taken straight out of his book, of a list of things that they may choose from for strategies that promote skill acquisition. As you can see, some of them are more informal, whereas some, such as social stories and video modeling, are evidence-based practice. Self-monitoring, self-management is an evidence-based practice. And then if you look at strategies that enhance social performance, some of those also peer-mediated instruction. Priming is certainly an evidence-based practice. Video modeling, again, and social stories are used for both skill acquisition and to enhance social performance. So lastly, you would evaluate and monitor your progress after you've used your intervention. Does the child show skills across settings and people? Does the child perform skill without support or assistance? Does the child perform the skill fluently and effortlessly? I think these are great questions. Can a child do skill when reinforcement is provided, or can they do it without reinforcement? Can a child do skill when environmental modifications are made? So you're looking at what level of support is this child able to do. Now we're going to switch from Scott Bellini's program to Michelle Winter's program, Think Social. There is one peer-reviewed report on Think Social, but as I said, whole social programs are new, and so there is very little scientific support right now. Some social tools, though, are scientifically supported, such as social stories, video modeling, priming, peer-mediated training, peer training. All of that is very well supported evidence-wise, but these not so much yet. So here are the core philosophies of social thinking. Most of the core social thinking lessons operate below the level of culture, meaning that people of all cultures engage in these thoughts and social behavioral adjustments. So it's almost an innate skill among people, in her view. How we adapt our behavior changes as we age, and that's certainly true, and are in different situations and cultures. So the nuance and sophistication of these behaviors is constantly evolving. So we refine them constantly across our entire lives. Thirdly, social thinking is something all of us do every day, all day, even when we're alone in our homes. You know, to understand a TV drama, we have to think of character emotions. Even reading a novel requires social thinking, and we referred to that, didn't we, in the last lecture when we were talking about reading comprehension and social thinking. So therefore, social thinking really plays into our academic world, requiring us to think about motives and intentions of people we read about in literature and history. Social thinking affects us in adulthood. To hold a job, most of us have to adapt our own social behavior based on the perceived thoughts of people we work and live with. So throughout the course of our lives, throughout school and community and job, social thinking is at the essence of what we do as human beings. So we think with our eyes to figure out other people's thoughts, intentions, emotions, and plans. So that's really goes back to what we talked about teaching people how to be social detectives, doesn't it? Our thoughts and emotions are strongly connected. How we think affects how we feel. How we behave affects how others think and feel. If your friends are people who make you feel good about you over time, then you must learn how to make friends and how to make other people feel good using your actions and your language. So what we do affects others, and that's a great, huge part of the social thinking curriculum, is helping children with autism to realize that what they do affects how other people think and feel. We think about people all the time, even if we have no plans to interact with them. We adjust our behavior based on what we think people around us are thinking. This is actually even how we drive our cars, isn't it? So by somebody's behavior, we may think someone's going to stop or not stop, things like that. Think of everybody at a four-way stop, right? As part of our humanity, each of us is on a daily quest to avoid each other's weird thoughts. We constantly consider people around us and adjust our behavior to help people have more normal thoughts about us. And so that's the essence of how to teach children with autism, is teaching them that kind of titration of helping to read and collect what other people are thinking and adjust their behavior so that people will have more normal thoughts about them. So here are her 4 steps of perspective taking. Step 1, when you come into my space, I have a little thought about you and you have a little thought about me. You know, that's kind of like the greeting part of conversation, isn't it? Step 2, I wonder, why are you near me? What is your purpose for being near me? Is it because you're just sharing the space? Do you intend to talk to me, or do you intend to harm me? I have to consider all these things in order to keep me safe around people, as well as to predict what will happen next. Step 3, since we have thoughts about each other, I wonder what you are thinking about me. And then step 4, to keep you thinking about me the way I would like you to think about me, I monitor and possibly modify my behavior to keep you thinking about me the way I want you to think about me. So Michelle Winter has a social thinking assessment called I Laugh, and it begins with initiation of communication, listening with eyes and a brain, abstract and inferential language and communication, understanding perspective, gestalt processing, in other words, central coherence, getting the big picture, and then humor and human relatedness. She really recommends that the student is observed with his peers in many different environmental contexts and with other people, and that the diagnostician should relate with the student without facilitating, in other words, without helping the student's social success. And that's really true of any of assessment, isn't it? You know, we want to know what kids can do without support. Using a battery of informal assessment tools, and administering carefully considered standardized measures. I recommend the SSIS or the SSRS, which is I think one of the only well-standardized social instruments, and interviewing teachers and parents with regard to student social cognition. So here are some social thinking assessments. Tests of pragmatic language and social knowledge, the social language development test, and the test of pragmatic language. Here's the thing, though, about testing pragmatic language in a standardized test that doesn't include context. Evaluating a student, how they use social skills in context, is hard to do in a standardized testing situation. The minute you put a child in a testing situation, it negates the typical context that they have to do, whether they have to figure out how they should act, all of those kinds of things. So many children with Asperger's can score quite high on social pragmatic language tests and things like that because they don't include your body language, the situation, facial affect, the integration of all those things. All they have to do is listen to the language and look at a picture, which is, again, a support. So many kids with autism can do quite well on isolated pragmatic language tests. Things that evaluate behavior throughout the school day are a little bit easier. So we talked about the SSRS, the Social Skills Rating Scales, which I think are quite good. There's the Walker-McConnell Scale of School Competence and Social Adjustment. It's a lot older, but it still gives you some idea. Also, good at looking critical language skills. It is the comprehensive assessment of spoken language, because it has superlinguistic subtests such as inferential language and pragmatic judgment, which are sometimes helpful. Think Social is Michelle Winter's social thinking curriculum, and it's made specifically for school-age students, and it has several little thematic chapters to work through, starting with how to be part of a group, working through a lot of self-awareness of their behavior, some guides, how to really start to self-manage themselves in context, looking at language, looking at body language, looking at social abstract behavior. It also has a lot of worksheets, home worksheets that I find really helpful, wall charts, and some videotapes that show her actually doing the lessons, which is really helpful.